Hey guys, I'm Maddie and welcome back to my channel. I hate to be one of those annoying girls who's like, I was never a runner and now I am. But that is the truth. I have never been a runner. Like in elementary school when we would do track and field, I would participate in the running, but fully well knowing I was not the fast enough. I was not the fastest. I didn't have the greatest endurance to like do the long distance. I wasn't the slowest, I wasn't the weakest runner, but I wasn't the best. I was like middle to low of the pack, which I was fine with. I never really cared. Like my friends growing up, they were spectacular runners. Like they were so good and I was always pretty jealous of it, but I kind of just accepted it like, this is just the way I am. Like I'm not that athletic. I was athletic in sports, but not when it came to like running or standing long jump, running long jump, high jump, things like that. Like the track and field aspect of me, not too great. But like volleyball, basketball, soccer, things like that, that's where I excelled. But the other day I ran my first 5-kilometer run and it felt so good. I was very, very proud of myself. Here and there, I've done like little one-off longer distance runs. The furthest I ever ran was from my house to my boyfriend's house, which is like 7 kilometers. I can't remember how long it took me, but it wasn't like a consistent run. I took a lot of walk breaks, which was fine, but I had never prepared for that run and I've never stuck to running this consistently before. But these are some of the things that I've picked up on in my running journey, which I would say I've been consistently running for like 2 months now. 2.5 months maybe. And the first is distance over time. And I also think I have benefited the most from consistently running, slowing my pace, but not breaking to a walk, keeping up the momentum of the run, and not trying to be the fastest, just trying to make the distance. Because at the end of the day, once you make that certain distance, you're always gonna improve your time and be able to make up the time. But if you're just going for the time and for the fastest run, you're gonna burn yourself out really, really quickly and you might not be able to make that full distance that you set for yourself. The second, I hope I can explain this without like having to get up and actually demonstrate it. But when you're running, using the downforce of your arms to beat the pace of your feet like a drum. So I'm gonna have to get resituated here. So like when you're running like this, when this arm comes down, the opposite leg should also follow that same motion. So keeping your hands and like beating from your elbows, your foot down. I hope that made sense. I saw it on a YouTube video. So it's just like keeping the momentum and not just like kind of swinging your arms all willy-nilly and letting your feet do whatever they want. Keeping a consistent rhythm and keeping everything in check. And if nothing else, it also just takes your mind off of the fact that you're running because you have to focus on what you're doing so much. Number 3 is stretching before and after is the most important thing ever. I would run before, I would do like a little warm-up walk for like a couple 100 feet and then I would just go right into running, and as soon as I was home I would like do another lap of the house walking and then that was it. I would get so incredibly sore afterwards and then that would carry into my next run and I would be cramping all over the place and it was so painful and it set me back a lot because I wasn't able to keep up my training. So doing some really good dynamic stretching before, swinging my legs, doing some calf raises, doing like really explosive squats, just like stretching and getting my blood flowing throughout my body, doing like some walking lunges, and then doing a pretty long walk at a pretty good pace too, not just like dragging my feet, but actively walking and engaging my muscles when I'm walking. And then after my run, doing a lot of stretches in my legs, my hips, my feet, my back, my shoulders. One thing I noticed when I first started running was how sore my shoulders got. I think I was very tight and held a lot of tension in my shoulders. So just keeping those like pretty loose and relaxed, but also stretching out everything, my chest, my neck, especially my hips. Number 4 is using a running app has kept me consistent. I use the Couch to 5K app and I have been really happy with it. I think I have to pay for it. For 3 months, it's like $25, I think. And in my opinion, so far, it's been really worth it. I'm sure there are other apps out there. I think Nike has one where they have like free training programs, but I am not like a fitness coach. I don't know the science behind training for running or anything like that. So having it laid out in an app where all I have to do is open the app and it tells me exactly what I'm doing that day takes the stress out of trying to figure out what kind of run I should be doing each day. Like it has tempo running and also long distance running as well, and like kind of mixes it all up. And the one I have, like when I put my headphones in, she talks to me, she tells me when to start running, when to stop running, when my walk break is, like how much time I've spent running, and it's very helpful. That was one of the biggest things that kind of deterred me from running, is the stress of trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing. Number 5 is to have a big picture goal, but then have very specific milestones that you want to reach in order to get to your big goal. So for me, I really want to do a half marathon, the one at Disney World in 2026, because for 2025, the tickets are already sold out. So we're doing it for 2026, which gives me a year and a half, a little bit over a year and a half to get my shit together in order to do my half marathon. But in order to do a half marathon, I have to be able to run 5 kilometers first. So I've broken it down to like a 5 kilometer, a 10 kilometer, and then we'll probably do like 15 kilometers, just slowly building up, but having very specific things that I want to achieve before I get to my big goal. So it's not too overwhelming. It doesn't scare me away. And being very clear in the steps I need to take in order to get there, so that there is like no questioning, no doubting what my next steps are gonna be. Number 6, I don't know why I was led to believe this, but you do not have to do cardio fasted. I actually much rather have a very small snack before I run, because if I don't, then I get super bad cramping, specifically on my right side. But if I eat something small before I go out, then that holds off my cramping. And eating it and drinking water far enough before your run where you don't feel like heavy, you don't feel like you have a water belly or anything like that. And then also your post-run meal should have a lot of protein so that you can help repair your muscles. Number 7, what you wear matters. And I don't mean brand-wise, but I mean what is most comfortable for you. Because if your shorts are hiking up or your leggings are riding down on your ass, you're gonna be so uncomfortable during your run that you're gonna wanna quit early. But if you have a perfect fitting sports bra, shorts, and your shoes are comfortable, you're gonna be well prepared to keep going the distances. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still gonna be hard, but you're not gonna be irritated by your clothing and trying to like adjust it mid-run and like shove a boob back into your sports bra. So make sure you're very comfortable. Like, I much prefer wearing shorts running because I feel like leggings are always like sliding down on me, or they're just like too bunchy, or I get too hot. So running, but then sometimes my issue with shorts is that they ride up and I get a very big wedgie and I'm very uncomfortable and very aware of like where the seams are. But finding the right clothing for you, and the shoes are the biggest part and the most important part, because if you don't have proper fitting shoes, you're gonna be sore no matter what, and it can actually do more harm than good. Number 8, this is a personal choice, but I much prefer podcasts over music. I almost said movies. Podcasts over music when I'm running, because I'm very particular about my music, and sometimes I can get very irritated when songs come on that I don't want to listen to. Like, yes, I could do a curated playlist, but still inevitably there's going to be songs that come on that I'm not in the mood for. So when I constantly have to like tap my AirPod to keep skipping the songs, it's just very annoying. But whereas if I put on like an hour or so podcast, I can listen to them chat in the background, just keep going about my run. It doesn't really annoy me. I'm focused on something other than the pain I'm in, or like how far I'm going, or how tired I am. One thing that annoys me about music is that little itty bitty gap between songs. When there's just like that moment of silence, I'm like, oh my God, like just get on with the next song. But in podcasts, the only thing that I skip over is like the ads, which usually are far and few between. They're not super regular, so I appreciate that. Or another one, I've never done it, but audiobooks, I think that would be a good thing to get into too. But sometimes when I'm listening to an audiobook, I really need to pay attention, and I don't know if I'd be able to do that when running. Number 9 is that you do not have to run every day to get progress. And I actually think it's better to run like every other day, if even that, or like two, 3 times a week at most. Because you want to allow your body to recover from the stress that you've put it through, and it needs that time. It needs those off days to build the muscles, to repair, and to build up your endurance. Like, I don't know the science behind it, so don't take me word for word, but it is very important to have your rest days. You can still go for walks and still do things like do strength training or whatever, but it's important to take time off from running. And this kind of leads into point number 10, and that is strength training improves your running. And it just makes me feel like a badass when I'm like out there doing my sit-ups, doing my push-ups, my squats, things like that. But having more muscle makes you a better runner. Again, don't know the science behind it, couldn't tell you why. I just know that it really does help you have a more balanced composition. And a lot of people are worried that if they run, they're gonna lose all your muscle mass. And in order to not do that, you still have to train your muscles. You have to do strength training. Right now, I'm trying to do strength training 1 or 2 times a week and running about 2 or 3 times a week. So then that's a total of 5 days of workouts. I like running on the weekends. I just find that's when I get like my long distance runs in and feel the most confident, but it doesn't always happen, and my strength training comes throughout the week. Anyways, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!